Hello everyone, in this presentation I'll be going through the business toolkit and how we can apply the 5 steps to a real-world business problem. We will be going through the problem-solving process for ineffective leadership, which is a common issue in many companies, big and small. Here's our agenda for today, and the problem statement is ineffective leadership leads to unsuccessful business process, vision, and goals, which can cause underutilization of employees and resources. So the first step that we're going to do in discovery is jot down a summary of the problem you are working on solving. Ineffective leadership is caused by lack of involvement over overall business process and vision and low employee productivity levels. Secondly, we're going to describe the facts related to the problem. Leadership does not like confrontation. Leadership does not want to get involved with issues. Leadership has little to no understanding of what employees do in the workflow process. Employees are not performing due to lack of leadership and too much slack given by management. Employees make mistakes and leadership does not catch the mistakes and or does not correct mistakes and or behavioral issues within the workplace. And lastly, no overall business process. Third, we're going to begin to interpret the situation. The business cannot run smoothly and properly without strong supportive leadership. Therefore, employees will not perform to their highest capability. Without an understanding, outline, and process for each role, there is no guideline on business and employee performance. Next, we're going to investigate. Think about how you can adapt your behavior as you react. I can adapt my behavior by clearly explaining my roles and capabilities to management. I can hold myself to a high performance standard and cooperate with business best interests in mind. I can also offer suggestions on how to help and set guidelines on the business process. I could also offer suggestions on how we could use my own capabilities to help better serve our business goals. Next, you're going to identify the stakeholders. There's one problem owner in this situation. There are very few allies within the company who are performing correctly and well and have the company's best interest in mind. There are many opponents that think, behave, and perform of selfish reasons. The opponents could be converted to allies if they are led to believe that they are valued and their unique capabilities are important to the success of the company. Next, we're going to jot down the 4 reasons why this problem is occurring. The problem owner is not being a leader because they do not understand the full business process, flow, and goals of success. Management does not recognize the unique capabilities and skills of each employee, which leads to loss of productivity in advance. Management does not like confrontation, therefore they cannot address issues when needed. And lastly, there are no guidelines or expectations, therefore employees are not performing to their best abilities. Next, we're going to think about how might we statements. The current circumstances are not ideal because employees and management have a lack of understanding of their expectations. This causes miscommunication regarding productivity and role duties. There are plenty of opportunities to offer utilization of specific unique capabilities that could better serve the company. Another way the situation could be moved from undesirable to ideal would be to begin asking employees to write down their current roles and what tasks belong to them. This gives management a starting point on where they can start drafting a business process and workflow management. Stakeholders have been made aware of this issue and would like to start the implementation process of delegating roles and creating better workflow to increase productivity levels and overall company well-being. Next, we're going to go to the brainstorming process. So there are 3 steps to the brainstorming process. Ideate, which is generate ideas. Index, which is categorize your ideas by identifying themes. And implement, which is selecting the best ideas to execute. Since leadership shrinks from confrontation and lacks insight into roles, we need an objective, data-driven way to show them reality without making them feel attacked. Since managers won't enforce rules verbally, build the rules directly into the workflow structure so the system enforces itself. Reframe confrontation as coaching, which could help the problem owner shift their mindset. They likely view confrontation as a screaming match. Introduce simple coaching frameworks like the SPI, situation, behavior, impact, which allows managers to correct behavioral issues using purely objective facts. And the what's in it for me onboarding for opponents. To convert selfishly motivated opponents into allies, tie the newly drafted guidelines to things they care about. Some examples are less chaotic, clear paths to recognition, or doing tasks they actually enjoy based on their unique skills. You cannot fix avoidant leadership or underdress underperformance or utilize unique capabilities until everyone has a clear objective of what is actually happening in their daily workflow. The goal isn't to confront management with a problem. Instead, present them with data and a solution. Once you collect the logs from allies, synthesize the data into a visual flowchart or a clean master document. Because leadership has little understanding of what employees do, a visual map acts as an eye-opener. It explicitly shows where tasks are falling through the cracks, where slack is being taken, and where mistakes are happening. To prevent management from feeling overwhelmed, hand them a simple self-enforcing quality gate checklist. This replaces active confrontational management with a system-driven rule. Now to the implement process. By comparing each alternative head-to-head based on its ability to systematically solve the root causes. Alternative A is what I would choose because it emerges as the most essential foundation solution. This is a role mapping and shared process guideline. It is a map of everyone's role and their workflow. It outlines clear performance standards and creates an official business process outline with management. SWOT profile for alternative A would be strengths internally and helpful. This directly fixes the lack of workflow understanding and builds a transparent performance baseline. It relies heavily on willingness to proactively list capabilities and offer helpful solutions. Weaknesses. It requires initial time and effort from an already low productivity staff to document roles and relies on passive managers actively improving the final text. Opportunities. It leverages the strategic interest of high-performing allies in the company who want workflow streamlined. It also taps into opponents' desire to feel valued by letting them contribute their skills to the framework. And lastly, threats. Confrontation. Averse management might ignore delay signing off on a document to avoid uncomfortable conversations with underperforming employees. The outcomes or target results would be establishing a 100% complete documented master outline for all core workflows within 60 days. Reduce undocumented operational workflow errors caught past deadline by 40% in 4 months. The execution matrix would give complete clarity to the solution when we define the exact actions, responsible parties, and strict deadlines. Lastly, to review. Finally, we get to this step, which is to review what we implemented. We will ask for feedback from all parties, monitor results such as data, employee productivity levels, and overall day-by-day process. The STAR analysis is an activity that aids how we can review our process, but in the implementation process. Think about the who, what, when, where, why, and how for your solution. Like a reporter trying to rediscover pivotal information to a story, STAR analysis allows you to think through every aspect of your solution and its effects. And we also need to monitor results by facts and just the overall feel of the company after we implement this process. Thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.